We are back on a Saturday afternoon with another episode of Shakedown News Live. It's good to see you guys again. It's always fun to hang out with you for an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes on a Saturday afternoon. Let's talk about this week, as we always do in this segment. What happened? Well, let's see. Fish played a show on Tuesday that I didn't watch. There's a lot of shows this week that I didn't watch. However, there was one show I did watch, and I got to watch it live and in person with 39 of my friends at Project Barley last night. Nate Lapointe and Craig Marshall from Cubensis got together and did an actual live concert in front of people at a place that is an actual establishment that does live music. It was crazy. In the COVID, all got together. We all were masked up and socially distant, and everybody pretty much behaved themselves. You know, if they got to move up and go move across the floor, they put their mask on. If they get to the bar, they put their mask on. One person in the bathroom at a time. It was really, it was a great time, and it was certainly wonderful to see my people I hadn't seen in a long time, friends, family, and whatnot. That's family with the PH. But it was great, and hopefully, I know today Jay Constable was playing a set there. If you haven't been to Lomita, to the Project Bar, if you live in LA area, it's a great place. It's a great hang, and it's a real chill, like acoustic music vibe. What they got going on there. So Brent and the boys, if you go in there and say hey, I am drinking the Project Barley Burpee, the Japanese lager, which is like a Asahi or a Sapporo. It's really light, good afternoon beer. But that's neither here nor there. Stuff coming up that I would like to let you guys know about. 4th of July weekend on that Sunday, they are replaying all three Chicago Fare Thee Well shows on Fans. Grateful Dead, or the last shows of the Grateful Dead before they finally said, we're Dead and Company now. Phil left, went to his place up in the Bay Area. And so that's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to tuning into that. And let's see. I'll think of something else before the end of the show, but that's what we got. Let's just dive in why you guys are here, because you didn't come to sit and watch me for an hour and 15 minutes. That would be boring. But you did come to see John Lovero from the Higgs. What is up, Johnny?
What's going on, Billy?
Oh man, it's been a long time since we've seen each other. It's good to finally be we're not in the same room, but at least physically seeing each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I could listen to you for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think I would get bored.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, we don't have to come to that. I threatened having an entire show on lighting with a bunch of lighting designers nerding out, and I thought, yeah, I might do that, but at the same time, people might run like cockroaches when the lights come on.
Sure. I think certain people would definitely tune into that.
Yeah. We had fun. So what have you been up to? I know you've been teaching, and you guys played one of the last shows. Like literally everything shut down right after. So let's catch up and figure out what you've been up to, and then we'll start talking about what else is going on in your life, like the new blog.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that last show at the Wayfarer was great. That was such a weird time. We kicked off a tour and we were on the road, and then all of a sudden things started getting really hairy with COVID. And we landed in Vegas when stuff got really nasty, canceling the NBA and all that. And we're like in Vegas, like, should we even play tonight? What's going on? And we had another show at the Wayfarer the next night. So like, luckily we're going back home when everything was collapsing. Yeah. And we were able to come back home and play that one last show. But, venues are calling us up going, this is over. Like, we're going to shut it down for a little bit. Bands are calling us like, we're not doing these gigs anymore. So the consensus was like, let's just cancel tour. And that's what happened. And luckily we were in our hometown, because like we just were able to go home that night.
Yeah.
We weren't stuck in like Utah or Colorado or something like that.
Yeah. And it was really great to be able to like like dive into the pandemic coming out of a really great show, which you guys had that night. It was nice being able to make that the last, I would have. I don't. I don't know if we all kind of stuck it in the back of our head and had it as for recall memory, because you can't. If the last day before the shutdown was doing the same of everything we've been doing for the last 30 days, if you're just sitting at home watching Netflix, I don't think I don't think we all would have survived. At least the folks that were at that show. So
Sure.
So you've been teaching and all that, but you've also been developing a podcast, which is really cool. First episode came out last week. Mm-hmm. It is called.
It's called John Lovero Actualized, and you can find it on all, shameless self-promotion right here. You can find it on the Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube for the video version. And go check it out. Go give it a listen. Go rate me on Apple Podcasts. I would love to hear what you think.
Yeah, hit those stars. Hit those
Absolutely.
stars. I listened to the first one was kind of a conversation between you and the viewers about kind of where you came from and your whole approach to getting into music, which is that's a good way to you kick off a podcast by introducing yourself, and then you can get right to the fighting.
Sure,
as they say.
Yes.
Yeah, but you also one of the things you brought up was what defines a jam band, right?
Right.
And for those who haven't listened, we will talk about that. What do you?
Sure.
I mean, what'd you come up with? I know which I listen to it, but I want everybody watching here to listen to it. Give them a sample. Don't give away all the juicy stuff you gave away on the podcast because I want them to go listen to it. But as far as it goes, what'd you come up with?
Yeah, well, I think the beauty of that question is like that conversation can go on for as long as it wants to. And my idea of what a jam band might evolve tomorrow, but or what a jam band is might change tomorrow. But essentially what it came down to for me is like, it's almost hard to say that a jam band is a genre name because so many different bands live under the genre jam band. And so it's what really it is more of like an approach to the music, an approach to the show, the environment you create for your crowd.
Sure.
And there's like certain little things, like I wouldn't like call them requirements, but like little, almost like tricks or like routines that jam bands do, like taking a set break and having 2 sets, some form of like tailgating or shakedown in the parking lot, certain, fragrances in the air, just like a certain overall idea of like what the goal is at the show. Like we come to have fun, experience music, and also create this symbiosis between the band and the crowd. And that's like one thing that the jam band kind of thrives on is that crowd band connection. So, I mean, like I said, like there's so much to talk about within what a jam band is, and so much to agree and disagree on. But what do you think, Billy? At the end of the day, what is a jam band to you?
Well, it does go beyond the music because all bands can jam, but not all bands can be a jam band, right? Like every band out there that takes that instrumental and pushes it just a little farther past the 2 cycles through the hook, they're jamming. And they're kind of, and every band live can do that, and do most of them do. You very rarely go to a show and hear the radio edit, you don't hear the 3-minute radio cut. You hear the 5-minute slightly pushed out there. So, and that would be defined as jamming. But yeah, I think you're correct in that it's more about the environment and the scene as a whole, because you don't get like you could go to any insert artist here where you park your car, you get your tickets, you walk across the parking lot, you scan your tickets, you go in, you find your seats, you sit down, you watch the show, you leave. You didn't talk to a soul other than the guy who sells you beer and hot dogs. And maybe the guy who took your ticket or the guy who showed you where your seat was, the usher. But there's very little interaction between you and the rest of people. But it doesn't have to be that thing right there that developed that develops around the scene has developed in bands that aren't considered jam bands, like Rush. Like, Rush is not a jam band. Fucking jams, but they're not considered a jam band because they don't have the sandal wearing, patchouli soaked, long haired masses attending their shows, right? But I would almost have to say they're a jam band, even though people don't, because they have the diehard fans, they have the party in the parking lot, they have they tick all the boxes that you're talking about.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
or like even like Insane Clown Posse, like the way that they have like that cult following and like all those people that like they get to the show and it's like they've known each other for years. I don't really know much about the Insane Clown Posse scene and all that, but I do know that it's like a very strong following and like it's like a group of people that like are kind of like all about it together. And I feel that same way like when I go to a show within the jam band scene, I feel a connection, kind of like what you're saying, like I don't go to another show like say like if I went and saw I don't know like like I don't it's hard to throw names out there, but bands that are outside of what we call like the jam band scene, you don't have that connection with the crowd that you're kind of talking about and with the people that are at the show. But when I go and I see people wearing tie-dyes and like people talking about, oh, what'd they play last night? They did this and oh, there was a 15-minute such and such. That's like when you immediately are like, oh, I get that guy. Like I've never met that guy, but like I'm overhearing him talking about like last night's show, and I get that guy like immediately. It's like
instant.
These people for instant connection.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just such a deeply rooted thing. So it's just fantastic. It's fantastic to be a part of, frankly.
Yeah. And you guys are definitely climbing the ladder of jam bands to where there's a whole Facebook group of the fans of the Higgs, which is well populated with people who love you guys, and I'm on there myself. So it's cool seeing that happen for you guys right now, and hopefully when we get past COVID, are you working on any new material? Is anything coming up or like albums cooking, percolating?
Stuff is cooking right now. We're definitely working on material, writing a lot of songs,
right?
Trying to hold stuff back and not play them live until we get a chance to really like lay it down. So yeah, we're definitely working on stuff right now and constantly like adding in new covers and things like that and refreshing old material. In fact, we have a couple of outdoor shows coming up at the Wayfair these next 2 Sundays.
Right.
So like basically like if you want to come and you're in like the Costa Mesa, Southern California area, it's going to be outdoors. People will be socially distanced and they're going to try to make it as safe as possible, keep everything as sanitized as possible. But yeah, I mean, it's this Sunday at the June 18th and also Sunday, July 5th. So these next upcoming Sundays.
So tomorrow.
Exactly.
And then
and the following.
Is there a limit to the amount of people that can get back into the beer garden?
There is and it's a free show. So what they're doing is they're like taking basically tickets at the door, or you could like RSVP with tickets on Eventbrite and save your spot. So I think it's just like 60 people that they can have back there safely, socially distanced. So when that caps off, they won't be allowing any more people in. So they're going to try to really keep things safe. And if we're going to get this thing moving again, we got to do it in a safe way. I'll be wearing a mask because I'll be singing. And I just want people to feel comfortable and stay safe, essentially.
Good. Well, last night at the Nate and Craig show, I was really impressed at everybody's ability to behave themselves and wear the mask and not bitch about it. There's a huge, huge dividing, and we're not going to get into the politics of mask wearing, but because I never ever in 40 however many years on this planet did I ever think that statement would be uttered by anybody.
Sure.
The politics of wearing a mask, but it is
2020, buddy.
Shit,
2020.
man, it's crazy. Can we just hit fast forward to 2020 when we get through this stuff? I said to somebody last night, I feel like on like March 2nd, early part of March, I fell asleep. And I've just been just like dreaming through all of this because you haven't been, nothing's going on. You're not doing, we're not doing anything. Most of us who aren't essential are literally just, trying to find the end of Netflix. And and I'm pretty close.
Yeah.
But
Starting to see the light.
you've been keeping yourself busy. I know with you switched your lessons to online.
I
So
did.
are you
Yeah,
still
but
taking clients? Are you still taking? So if you want to learn play guitar, you can learn to play
absolutely.
guitar from John. That's
Yeah, so I mean, my wife and I have a school here in Fullerton, California, that we've
hmm
been teaching from for about the past 3 years. And due to COVID, we had to, like you said, transition things over to online lessons, and it's been fantastic. We do it through Zoom, and we actually opened back up in Fullerton, so we're teaching again face to face with masks and
uh-huh.
keeping things safe and sanitary.
All
But
right.
yeah, I mean, video lessons. If you live across the country or in a different country, by all means, I'll teach you guitar. Hit me up.
Cool.
Yeah, just PM me and my Instagram or my Facebook or whatever. Just hit me up and let me know you need to learn. I'll help you
Right
out.
on.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, should we take this? I mean, should we take this opportunity to give them a sampling of your songs? You want to
Oh
play?
yeah,
You
yeah.
want to play one?
I'll play it too. Yeah, let's do it
I
too.
think that's a good place to transition into a song.
Let's do it too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I happen to have
I'm
my guitar
assuming.
sitting right here.
Look at that. I'm assuming
Yeah.
you're all okay with John playing a song, right?
They okay with that?
Yeah. All right. While John's playing, if anybody has any questions that are just burning a hole in your brain that you got to ask John, you can use the comments on both the Facebook and the YouTube to ask questions. I see them pop right up here, and we'll throw your question up for John if you got any, and we'll get to that after the song. So
Cool.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Cool. How about I do one and then we'll chat some more and then I'll do a few more a little later.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Cool, man. Yeah. All right. This song is called Turtles All the Way Down by Sturgill Simpson. I seen Jesus play with flames in the lake of fire when I was standing there. Met the devil in Seattle, spent 9 months inside the lion's den. Met Buddha yet another time, showed me a glowing light within. But I swear that God is there every time I glare into the eyes of my best friend. Says, my son, it's all been done. Someday you're gonna wake up old and gray. So go and try to have some fun, showing warmth to everyone. Meet and greet, cheat along the way. Waste your mind on nursery rhymes that lead somewhere far beyond this plane. Well, reptile aliens made of light cut you open, pull out all your pain. Tell me how they make illegal something Joe Rogan smokes every day. Some say you might go crazy, then again it might make you go sane. Every time I take a look inside that old and fabled book, I'm blinded and reminded of some pain caused by an old man in the sky. Marijuana, LSD, psilocybin, DMT, they all changed the way I see. But love's the only thing that ever saved my life. So don't waste your mind on nursery rhymes, fairy tales of blood and wine. There's turtles all the way down the line. To each their own, where we go home. To other realms our souls must roam, through and through the myth that we all call space and time. All right.
Sturgill Simpson.
A little Sturgill for y'all.
Yeah, I had no idea Sturgill was that cool. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He's great. He writes some great music. Oh, so I see you're getting the beard's coming back.
Beard's coming back. Yeah, I made a bit of a mistake. I'll be honest. So let me just explain myself, okay? Let me just tell you what happened.
All right.
You know, Johnny was getting a little wide over here with the beard. It was growing this way too much, and I usually just like go to a guy, you know, like once every 3 to 6 months, and he does a great job.
Yeah.
And everything was closed, you know, like no one was taking any appointments or anything like that. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'll have my hand at it. So I grabbed one of those electric razor things and tried to trim stuff up. And next thing I knew, I was like, nope, it's all coming off. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what happened.
So it wasn't an intentional removal. It was a oops.
It was a like, hey, let's try to like tame this thing up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I went one step too far, and that was it. You know?
Wow. I've done that. Yeah. I have grabbed the clippers thinking it had a guard on it. And and to trim and you know, it's like, oh man. Well, I guess we're going back to the goatee for a couple weeks.
It's a good look.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, when you appeared on the So Over COVID fest, and everybody lost their shit because they're like, who is that guy? And I'm like, oh wow, that looks like the John from like a long time ago that I remember when he had short hair and no beard and looked like the little baby face up there singing with the original Higgs.
Yeah, it was my alter ego, John Lovero. I'm not sure if you've met him. Yeah.
That's funny.
It's my Bizarro character.
That's funny. So I did notice that you guys have gotten back into the studio and working on some stuff. You're finally, I know you've been practicing, but you guys for a long time during this, like you stayed pretty squirreled away.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like at the beginning of everything, we were playing it really safe, you know, hearing about what was happening. There was a lot of questions, and you know, when it got to a point where the state was allowing people to start to gather again in like smaller groups, we started to take advantage of that. And you know, we started to get together and practice. Still haven't done anything really much bigger than what you're talking about, the OC Music Fest thing, where we did like a studio setting recording.
Right.
So this Wayfarer thing will be like the largest gathering, but it's still going to be very small and very controlled. So we're not diving full back in yet.
You're just kind of dipping your toe in the water to check the temperature.
Yeah, and you know, I noticed Terrapin Crossroads did the same thing. Phil opened back up maybe a week or so ago and did a show with like Stu Allen. And I'm not sure if Phil was actually performing. Outback, exactly. Yeah, outdoors. So, you know, I think they tested it out, and I guess maybe somebody is potentially sick there, so they shut it all down. Yeah. So, you know, things are just really touch and go right now. And
that's the big question is, and this conversation actually came up last night when we were up at Barley was, what's the size that people are comfortable with? Like, you know, would you go to a show that there were 50 people? Would you go to a show there's 100 people? Even if, I mean, indoor, outdoor, doesn't matter. Would you go to a show where is that point where you go, yeah, no, I'm not ready for that? And, you know, is it 500? Is it 250? Is it, you know, whatever? And I know what the news is telling us. And I know what Fauci's constantly trying to remind us. But, you know, it all comes down to the individual. It's like, where does your comfort level lie? And, you know, for me, it's like, 50 to that kind of that kind of vibe. Epic terrapin, but at the same time is there's an onus on the property owner, the bar owner, the venue owner. They could get their ass sued if like somebody got sick. What's to say they couldn't turn around and say, well, I got sick at your place. It's like food poisoning. Can they, will they treat it the same? And are they going to hold venue owners responsible? I mean, is this the Rave Act revised? You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think you have two different ways you can look at it right now. I mean, you have people that are getting sick, and you have people that could be potentially spreading this to people who are in danger of dying from this thing. So like older people or people that are already have predisposed conditions and things like that. So what I think everyone's obviously trying to protect is the spread and not trying to give it to those people. But at the same time, you have these businesses that are getting absolutely crushed right now. Like these owners of these bars and these venues, it's sad, man. It's sad watching this happen, because something that they may have built up for who knows how long, maybe like 40 years, who knows how long some of these people have owned these places, and for it to all get crushed by this pandemic, it's hard to watch. So you have two things that are just pulling at each other. You have the American people that want to continue working, and then you also have people who are those same people that want to be considerate and don't want to spread the disease any further. So I think we're all kind of just stuck in that strange position right now. And the beauty of like musicians and creatives during this time and having social media and the internet is people have been able to be creative and show people through the internet through YouTube and Facebook streams and things like that. And it's not the same as seeing a show in person, watching a band live on Facebook, but it's keeping the scene together and it's keeping the community together.
It's keeping us from losing our shit too.
Yeah, just being able to like hop in the comment section and be like, oh, dude, he's crushing that guitar solo right now, and like talk to your friend who you haven't seen that you usually go to shows with, and you're seeing them in the comment section. At least it's like a little taste. It's like VR. It's like VR shows. But it's been very helpful, and it's been getting us through this thing,
Yeah, I agree. I always look forward to the Tuesday night Fish show or the Friday night Grateful Dead. I mean, last night they did 10-2-87. I didn't watch it because I was up in Lomita watching actual music being played live. But the Friday night Grateful Dead shows, being able to go back and see that 10-2-87 Shoreline that has never been released before, and with all of the bumps and scratches that haven't been removed, the missed notes here, and I think that Fish show from Deer Creek, that the '95 Deer Creek that they played a week not last week, the week before last. There were some rough moments, but by and large, it was a good show. But yeah, I look forward to. I mean, that was my nights for a long time. Like every night, there's somebody, and I'm glad they have embraced that, and they're not charging for it because we'd all go broke because we're already not making money, and then we'd be shelling out for streaming. But yeah, it's great seeing every a different band every night from your couch. The older we get, the less we want to go out anyway. But it's and I know. Barsky and Garrett were doing a little duo thing, right?
Yeah.
Over at the studio. I don't know if they're still doing it.
Yeah, they get together every once in a while and like do some live streams and do some jams from the studio. So I think they may have done one the other night, like a few nights ago. Yeah.
Are they doing it on Busking Down the House? Is that where it is?
I think they have been on there a few times. Yeah.
Right, okay.
On that Facebook page.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
Shout out to Barsky and Garrett for their duo on Busking Down the House.
If you haven't watched it, David Barsky plays guitar, not bass. He's actually a pretty good guitar player.
Great guitar player.
Yeah. And then Garrett throws down on the cajon or the whatever drums, drum kit.
Exactly.
He beats on something.
Yeah.
And it's not Barsky.
Yeah, I think he sets up like a little combo thing where he'll have like hand drums and then maybe like a hi-hat or something like that. So, some sort of like combo set.
Yeah.
Like acoustic, kind of broken down kind of feel.
And they don't do Higgs music, they do just a variety of different covers, and he dies.
Exactly.
He dove deep a couple weeks ago into like some stuff from his band from Philly from a long time ago. And
Yeah.
that was kind of cool. It's like him because you never hear that. You guys don't play any of those songs live.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we do play Barsky songs, but I think he does try to bring like more fresh material
Yeah,
to the Higgs. So like
right.
that's nice because like for like those like side project situations, that's when some of like that older roots material can kind of be
Yeah.
relived. And like we're not afraid of adding that type of stuff to the Higgs as well. So like I think we do play some of his older songs and some of his newer material. So yeah, it's fun to watch them though. It's been really fun.
On the same vein of old material, are there any songs that you don't play anymore that you would like to bring back, but you just have decided they're in the circular file permanently, or are there is there anything you wish you still played that you don't anymore? Like old either Higgs songs or stuff you wrote that never made it to a show. Is there anything like that lying out there that we might see in the future?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's songs. Yeah, because like the Higgs played some stuff back in the day that we don't play anymore because it was a different lineup. Like
Hmm.
some of the songs that Marco wrote were fantastic. I love Marco's songs. So I mean, we maybe one of these days we'll bring back one of the Marco tunes because there's some that like we co-wrote. So
Right,
that would actually be pretty even pertinent today. But
right.
yeah, like for the most part, we like did almost like a reset with the Higgs when we came up with the new lineup. And when us four got together, it was like almost like we started a new band. It's like
Right.
almost like we should have and rebranded. But looking back, I don't regret it at all because
Huh.
everyone loves the name the Higgs. Like everyone, like in the band. I'm speaking for the band. Like they're yeah. So
Hey, this is that shirt.
yeah, I know a lot of people don't like their band name. I've noticed that. Like I've seen artists go like, "Oh, we have a shitty band name or this or that," but
Yeah.
I actually like our band name. So
I, I,
I'm
I
glad
think
we
other
didn't change it.
people I think other people too. I think it touches on multiple levels of the jam world. Like there's a lot of science nerds out running around in our world.
Sure,
There's no denying how many like truly science nerdy scientists there are. I
absolutely.
know a number of rocket scientists in our scene.
I mean, it
So
makes sense with like all the statistics that get taken down and everything that goes into
yeah.
like the organization of how the jam band scene is set up. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of them, So that I mean, it definitely fits. It definitely fits in what you're doing. And I don't know what you would change. I mean, what you would have changed it to that could have been cooler. So I mean, yeah. Originally, it was Higgs boson, like a long time ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, so like
But that
then
was way before Jesse, way before. I mean, we're talking like the origin story here.
100%. Like I went to a show in Costa Mesa one night and I was like, dude, who are these guys? And I saw these cats playing like Humphreys McGee covers and like doing this like soulful like R&B kind of groovy thing. The drummer was just crushing. I'm like, who are these cats? So like I started talking to them, hanging out with them, and then so they were jamming like up in like Anaheim and they hit me up to come out and just hang out and like, smoke some bowls and chill out and whatnot.
Right.
But we're just chilling and like I start playing bass one day and just start noodling around. And I'm not even a bass player, but they didn't have a bassist. Their keyboard player was playing bass lines with his left hand. So they're doing their thing and he's laying down all the bass lines. And they were like, hey, we should like free this guy up a little bit because he's like a phenomenal keyboard player and add a bass player. So they asked me to join and things evolved from there. And then I moved over to guitar. We brought in someone else on bass and that was the beginning of the Higgs.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a question from the internet. I'll pop it up. It's very long, so I'm not gonna leave it up there very long. But from Sean, can you read that? Can you
Yeah.
see that?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to read it?
No, I just want to make sure you can see it so you
I
can
can.
answer
I
it.
can. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody
So
everybody can see it, so
cool. So let me see.
you don't have to. What's the origin story behind Dude Wears Socks or backstory?
And what? Okay. So I'll talk about the first question. So the origin story of Dude Wears Socks, I believe Jesse came up with the idea of just like that concept of like, this person that we all kind of know. It might be you, yourself. It might be your closest friend, but that person who wears socks with their Birkenstocks. I'm guilty of it. A lot of us are,
Hey man, in December? Come on.
Seriously.
When it's cold?
Yeah, and I have some of those they're like the clog versions. So I mean, like, you gotta wear rock socks with those. It's perfect. But so anyway, I think Jesse was talking about how that's a funny concept and we should like throw it into a song. And I remember this vividly. It was like this funny time we're like loading out of a gig and we're like putting stuff in the back of the van and like something fell or something. And for a long time I've said Sheboygan as just like an expression of like, almost like, Sheboygan, So like I said that as like something was happening, something was falling or something. And Jesse's like, Sheboygan, that's going into the song because I bet you people who wear socks in their Birkenstocks live in Sheboygan. Like those people in Sheboygan, they're wearing socks with their Birkenstocks. So like that's how Sheboygan was brought into it.
Well, because it snows there.
There you go. There you go. That's so. And then what was the second half of the question?
Yeah. I think I remember on the Dude Wears Socks. I remember pulling into, was it Eugene, Oregon, and there was some dude walking down the street with socks and Birkenstocks, and I remember Jesse making a comment about that. That guy. And I don't know whether that was before he started writing the song or after he started writing the song, but in either case. Did you get the second part of that?
Yeah, I did. So I actually remember this now. We were playing at Last Exit, and we were so hungry. And we're driving in. We're on the 15 or whatever it is going into Arizona. And our buddy Dan hits us up, and he's like, yo, you guys are hungry? I'll hook you up with the bombest pizza in Phoenix. Just let me know exactly when you guys are going to be there. So we're like, okay, we're going to be there at, I think it was like 6 o'clock. We got there at like 6:30. Of course, we're late. So like he was like, when we got there, he's like, dudes, like I had this ready for you. Like when you said, and it was going to be nice and hot and perfect. But now
you're half an hour late.
You're half an hour late. So I brought you the best pizza in town, but now you got to eat it cold. So we were like, shit. Like, sorry, man. But like, it was the greatest thing ever. He hooked us up. It was, such good pizza. But anyway, so we had paper plates that came with the pizza that we were eating off of. And there was no paper backstage. Oftentimes we write out our set list with a Sharpie, and those paper plates were just like right there, ready to go. Yeah. And they were very nice, Hey, so bands out there, those like Dixie paper plates, they make for great set lists. I'll tell you what. And kind of like hides it from the crowd too, because it has like the edges. So like if they're trying to peek and see what you're playing, it has a little bit of a lip.
You could keep it on the sly.
Exactly.
Yeah, and don't mess with the fan. To this day, that's one of the funniest stickers I've ever seen.
That's really funny.
Yeah, the fact that somebody created a don't mess with the fan.
Check this
you have one.
Well, no, I have another one that a fan gave me one time, and this is probably one of my favorites.
I'm not saying it's aliens.
For all the ancient aliens.
But it's aliens.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Sean, hopefully that answered your question, and I hope you're doing great there in Phoenix.
Yeah, thanks, Sean.
You want to do another song?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 4:09. This is normally the point in the time in the show where we drink. So everybody, cheers, everybody.
Well, I'll have some water with you.
Right on.
That water tastes like mango.
Again, I got to throw it out to Brent and the boys up at Project Barley.
And the what kind of beer is that again?
This is the Burpee. It's a Japanese lager.
That's right.
And all their beers are 4-packs of the 16-ounce tall boys. Available at the brewery in Lomita, California. If you live in the South Bay or Long Beach or LA or want to jump on a plane and fly out here and have a good tasty beer, go see those guys. So, all right, I'll throw it over to John.
You used to say do anything, cause I know you can. Said, son, don't you see, it's a cool world to be. That's what makes me a man. Sing about them good times, babe, when I think about them bad. The tears are down to an empty bowl, and in the bottom they will hide. But you gotta believe in your life. Ooh, even in the rain and thunder, you gotta believe in your life. Even in the rain and thunder. After 4 long years of a growing pain, I said I would lay it down and rest my name. Son, you'll find that this world, it ain't so kind. Sing about them good times, babe, when I think about them bad. Tears are down to an empty bowl, and in the bottom they will hide. Well, you gotta believe in your life. Even in the rain and thunder, you gotta believe in your life. Even in the rain and thunder. You gotta believe in your life. Even in the rain and thunder, you gotta believe in your life. Even in the rain and thunder.
Yeah, that is, I know that's a fan favorite. Everybody loves that song.
Crowd pleaser.
That's an oldie and a goodie, and that song's about your dad, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of based on me losing my dad at a young age and kind of having to bounce back mentally and like emotionally, and just like kind of relates to a lot of things in life where life's going to throw you curveballs and things are not always going to be easy, and like things that are comfortable are going to potentially go away, and you have to be willing to adapt, and you have to be willing to kind of roll with the punches in life, and also appreciate the great things that were in your life that may not be there anymore. So yeah, it's kind of like a full circle thing. It's kind of like it's about my dad, but it can relate to a lot of different things. Yeah.
For those out there who don't know, John's dad was the great photographer for the Angels of Anaheim and Sports Illustrated, and he shot the photos for baseball cards and VJ, right?
Yeah, VJ Lovero. Yeah, he had actually his own deck with Upper Deck. He had a whole set of cards that were all his photos.
Super cool.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of photographers that have had that before.
I'd never heard of it until I learned that.
Yeah, so if you have one of those out there, shout outs to you. But also, he worked for Sports Illustrated, where he did things like, I don't know if you remember when like Tyson bit off Holyfield's ear. I don't know if that was that like did that happen? Like, was that popular?
I definitely
the cover
remember
of Sports Illustrated was my pops' shot on that one. So like he was involved with a lot of sports, going to shoot the Olympics, but mainly baseball and fighting. Those were his two big sports that he shot.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so like I grew up like with my dad out looking at slides at like 3 a.m. with the TV on, with like the house fully lit up, and I wonder sometimes why I stay up till 4 a.m. every night, you know, like, so like there's just like a lifestyle that I was kind of brought into, and it was very creative, maybe a lot different from like people who grew up in like a life where their parents did like a 9 to 5 thing.
Yeah, and in bed at 9 o'clock and Yeah, just after the
Right.
nightly news, you're in bed. Yeah, yeah.
Sure. Oftentimes work for him was, in the evening going to shoot a game or something like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I grew up around baseball a lot and just around sports in general. But he also gave me a fond love for music as well. He was passionate about drums. And like before I even got into playing music, he bought one of those like one piece electric drum kit things. They have pads all over them. And like,
Oh yeah, like V drums.
yeah, it was like, but back in the day, it was like, they might even still sell these. It was like a kit that you could buy that was like all in one. It was like one piece that you would like lump on the table, and it had like a pad here for the hi-hat and a pad here for the ride and like the snare and all the toms and a little foot pedal. So like he would sit in one of the rooms in the house and just like jam out on drums, and eventually kind of like pass that passion over to my brother and I, where we got into like the real deal, like a real acoustic drum kit, guitars with tube amps and things like that, PAs and all that stuff. But I mean, that was definitely like pushed onto us, I think, by my pops.
Yeah. But you were first a drummer before you were a guitar player.
I was, yeah. And I started jamming with my brother first in the garage. That was like the origins of it all. And it's so bad. This is terrible. This is terrible because I did that podcast, my first episode, and I explained like my upbringing and things like that. And I totally forgot about my actual first band that I was in. I don't know why I like erased this from my memory at some point, but I started jamming with my buddy Luke and my buddy Kale. And we started playing like Blink-182 and like that pop punk stuff that was going on at the time, like Offspring and like that type of stuff. And that's like actually what I first started playing on drums. But shortly thereafter, by like my early teens, I was already being turned on to things like the Grateful Dead, Fish, things like that. As a matter of fact, I was probably by that time already listening to like Jerry Garcia acoustic band albums and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's really funny though, because like I was like, yeah, my first band was like this jam band in high school, which actually was my second band. That I'm fixing the narrative right now. That was actually my second band. So the first band was like a pop punk kind of Blink-182 copycat kind of thing. And I actually think we recorded some stuff and like burned CDs and passed them out to people. And I remember, dude, it probably is like scratched up in somebody's like drawer somewhere right now. But I remember literally people telling me it was horrible. Like friends coming up to me like, what is this shit? Like, this is like the worst shit I've ever heard. So,
now I gotta hear this. If anybody out there finds one of these, what's the name of the band?
Inadequate.
And
quit is spelled KWIT.
Of course it is.
Right. Yeah, yes.
And 20 years ago, 15 years ago, whenever that was.
God, yeah.
That was not done ironically.
No,
it was done because that's what everybody was doing. It was
right.
The thing. Like
no, it was intentional though. We actually did know how to spell inadequate the right way, but we were rebellious.
Yes.
We were punk early 2000s kids, and we wanted to be rebellious and punk. You know. So yeah, but literally those were the days when you would buy the spool of CDs, and you had the burner. And we recorded something. We printed up a label on our computer and had like the stickers that you could put on the CDs that had the name of the band and everything. And then burned that and passed it out to our friends. And got horrible feedback. So that was my first band. Maybe that's why I erased it from my memory.
Yeah, they may have burned those discs in effigy a long time ago. And probably it's a good thing it never made it to the internet.
Absolutely. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if I had like a YouTube account back then and I posted that or something? I totally would have.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it would be there permanently. This will go down on your permanent record.
Exactly.
To quote an old song. Oh, I know. We have covered the miles jamming out to some awesome 90s like surf punk and skate punk and Blink-182s and your Offsprings and I know there's a really soft spot in my heart for that genre of music as well.
Yeah, like I don't dive back into it too much, but I'm not against it. Like I've actually had people throw on like some Blink and like some dude, especially Offspring, because Offspring,
Mm-hmm.
those guys are like from my area. In fact, we used to like ding dong ditch the guitar player because he lived so close. So like they're really close to home. But yeah, people throw that music on now, dude. I'm gonna rock out.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I
No
don't
shame.
hit skip when it comes up in like if I'm on random on the iPod or whatever.
It's on your iPod.
It is lots of
is.
it. Yes,
That's where it's come up. We've jammed out to that shit.
Yes,
in the van,
we have.
Dude.
Oh
We
yeah,
have, dude. Oh my god.
yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. I don't remember where, but we covered a long stretch. And James and I used to equally jam out in my van, driving with
A lot of Billy Joel, right?
we did, yeah, we did jam
Billy
out a lot
Joel?
of Billy Joel, and Eagles, Hell Freezes Over was on the frequent, but we definitely listened to some of that Offspring and Blink-182 and oh god, I don't, just all that shit. It's good. I have the most eclectic collection of music on my iPod because I've gathered it. I got my iPod is so old. It's one of those that before they fixed that where you couldn't share between other people's devices. That was not a thing when I first got my iPod. So
Sure.
so my iPod library is full of a bunch of friends' music as well. Who would like to, hey, just plug your iPod into my computer, and I'll just dump all that shit in there for you. And you didn't have to like connect it to an account like you have to do now with all your Apple crap. And so it was. So I have a ton of music from like Nate. And I know there's a bunch of stuff from Jay Constable. There's a bunch of like everybody would just contribute. That's why there's like 7,000 freaking songs in there, and it's all like everything from I don't know, just bizarre.
Yeah, I would just like think I needed everything back in those days. It's like I gotta fill this thing up, and the next thing I knew, I couldn't like pick a song because I just had so much stuff. Man, back in the days of the iPad, we've really simplified things with Spotify and all that. Man,
Oh yeah,
it's totally a different ballgame.
I don't know where it used to be right here, but I still have those old zipper binders with all the CDs because I just can't. Much like albums, I can't bring myself to throw them away.
Sure.
Even though they're physically, like the music is in my computer, it's in my iCloud or iTunes or they've all been loaded in there. But I still can't bring myself to ditch even the jewel cases with it because I love the album art. I love the physical feel of a CD or a record, and I think that's the music business has kind of lost that.
I mean, that stuff is literally vintage now. So like if you show that
So-
stuff to
so am
children
I.
and like yeah, so am I. Technically, I am.
Yeah.
I'm a 12-year vintage.
There you go.
Yeah, but like if you hold on to that stuff, have grandkids, and you show that stuff to them, they're gonna get their minds blown. They're gonna be like, "What is this ancient technology?" You know?
Yeah, all right.
That's
No,
kind
yeah.
of a cool thing to have, like a binder full of CDs now, just like for the nostalgia factor. It's interesting how like 10 years ago you'd go through that stuff. A lot of people probably threw all that stuff away, but to hold on to it, it's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have a box of records and don't even own a record player.
I mean, the collection. I mean, if you can listen to it on Spotify,
I know.
and
Yeah.
you're not into like that vintage warmth and like that the warmth of the record. I mean,
I like that. I like all the pops and scratches. I think, I think it there's something that does to the music. It kind of. I remember talking to somebody a while ago, and it was there is something wrong about music that is perfect sounding.
sure.
Like music should not sound that perfect. You should hear the string squeak. You should hear the subtle volume flutters. The things that make music. It shouldn't be digitally perfect like they try to make it these days. And
Yeah, it can easily go that way. If you're recording into like a DAW, some sort of software on your computer, you could easily take away the squeak of the guitar, and the recording is going to be so crispy because when you're using like a condenser mic going into a computer, you have a very clean, crispy sound. Where back in the day, that type of stuff was colored a little bit by vintage boards, or I'm not vintage boards, but analog boards and tape. And then going on to vinyl. And when you're doing all that stuff, you're getting color and you're getting you're taking kind of the edge off of it is essentially what's going on. You're giving it warmth and you're taking some of that high end out. And you kind of do that when you're as a guitar player. Like if I'm speaking directly to guitar players right now, they'll get this. It's like when you roll your highs off of your guitar. It's a similar thing that happens when you record to like an analog thing like tape, or you put it on vinyl, something like that. It takes off that like crispy, perfect high end sound that you get with a digital recording. And this is like, I'm speaking like from like a non-expert standpoint, but from my point of view, it sounds a lot better when you're playing through things like tube amps and when you record to something like tape. And not everyone can do it, and it's tough. It's a really expensive these days to record to tape and do everything all analog in the recording process. And it's so easy to just set up a computer and maybe an interface and some compressors or something like that, hook up some mics and just go for it, and then do everything what they call in the box. So, the days have changed, and you could still do things to kind of replicate that analog sound in a digital format, but it's never going to be the same as recording to tape and putting that tape recording onto a vinyl record.
Didn't you guys, wasn't there one of your albums that you went to tape and then digital? The Higgs?
No, actually, Higgs have only recorded 100% digital, 100% editing in the box. We've run through analog boards to get there. So, like, there's color going into it. So we've recorded through, like, a Neve board going into a computer, where then it's all mixed and done, mastered and all that stuff. But, so like I said, it's very hard and it's very expensive. So, like, even some of, like, the bigger bands that you would assume, like, they're doing this on tape or like the most like old school, like most audiophile fashion may not actually be doing it to tape. It might just be doing it to a DAW.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it sounds great either way.
Bring back the pops and scratches.
Yeah.
I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guess I got to get a record player now. Now that I've let that cat out of the bag.
Practice what you preach.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I have so many records. It's not even funny. We got about 15 minutes left. Does anybody have any more questions? I'm gonna throw it back out there.
I'll throw this out there real quick. We recorded an album, and it's called the Rose Will Fall Mixtape.
Oh yeah.
So if you're on Spotify or any of that stuff or Apple Music, you can purchase it there or listen to it on Spotify. Rose Will Fall Mixtape. It came out this March. Check it out. It was recorded at a few different shows. So we had a few different locations like Last Exit Live in Arizona and a few other spots, recorded the tracks. And then we went over to our buddy JP Hesser over at Castaway 7 Studios, who's worked with Chris Robinson Brotherhood and did like the first 2 Circles Around the Sun things. And so he mixed it for us, got everything dialed in. We sent that over to Louis Turan and George Shaw. And they've done stuff for like Rolling Stones and Dave Matthews Band. They're very, very good masters. So they mastered it for us. Ooh. And we put that out. So if you want to hear some live recordings that have been edited and mixed and mastered very well, go check that out. It's called the Rose Will Fall Mixtape.
That came out right before the pandemic, right?
It was actually like as the pandemic was happening. At the infancy of the pandemic. Yeah. And it was a choice, It was like, do we release this now and, like sacrifice maybe more people being exposed to it because of what was happening in the world? Or do we save it and then save it for a time when there's not so much going on? But we decided, people are going to need things like media and things to be able to stream and listen to during this time. So why not just let it out? And it's available now.
I can't tell you how many new albums that I've gotten alerts to over the last 100 days or whatever. Nice. And there's some great stuff. Alex Jordan's new album I just got. It's fantastic. There was another one I just got that I haven't had a chance to sit down and review it yet. But
he's a great player, man. I got to check that out.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
I saw that sexy album photo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
This one. Yeah.
Yeah. Shirtless, dude.
Right.
Yes, dude. I love it.
Yeah, and the art. I mean, the whole art. The art of the whole album is really, really cool.
Wow, that's clean, man.
Yeah.
You gotta give it a listen.
Yeah. Well, it's tasty. It's very. I mentioned if you want to read the full review, it's up on shakedownnews.com. You can go read my whole review. But he has an honest delivery of like where his music comes from.
Sure.
Like you can definitely feel his roots and all his inspirations. So like there's a little bit of Paul Simon in there. There's a little bit of like New Riders. I'm not talking about covers. I'm just talking about the way, the sound. There's some, Lou Reedy kind of stuff. So yeah, it's worth the listen. And it's one of those albums you can press play at the beginning and just let it roll.
Cool, man.
I like that.
Yeah, I've always liked his playing. I remember first time I probably saw him play was at the PCH Club in Long Beach with Cubenzis.
Yeah. He always often subbed when Nate was out with Womack.
Okay, yeah, and I think my wife went to college with him at Long Beach, so we went to the show together. And she's like, "Oh, that's Alex. We went to music school. That we were in the same music program." Yeah. And he's up there playing with Nate with Craig, obviously. He was subbing for Nate, and just awesome, man. Really cool cat. Really down to earth.
Oh yeah. And he's a great player, and he plays more than just guitar on the album. He plays piano and organ, and
I've seen him play organ. I've seen him like in his social media fixing organs and things like that. Yeah.
So. I hope the album does well because it's really good. Let's see. We got about 15 more minutes. Does anybody have any more questions or not more? Yeah. Any more questions for John before we make him play another song? I don't think I've twisted your arm too hard, and I don't think I have to ask them if they want to hear another one because I'm pretty sure they do.
Should we do another one and then just finish it off with a little more chatting?
Yeah.
A little more BSing?
I will while John's getting ready. If you look at your screen on your upper corner and lower corner, you will see a PayPal and a Venmo link. You can make donations to Shakedown News. All donations get split with the guest, 50%. It's right down the middle. So if you want to help keep this rolling along, you can scan your PayPal, Venmo. They will go straight to me, and then I will send half of it along to John, and he can do whatever he wants with it. Take Brittany out to dinner, feed the dog, whatever.
That's what it is. It's feed the dog.
Feed the dog.
She eats better than we do.
Right on. And so just scan the codes that are on your screen, and I'll leave them up for the rest of the show. And we appreciate it. I love being here every Saturday with all of y'all. And if it's your first time visiting, welcome. If you're coming back, it's great to see you again. And let me bring John up in the full screen, and
cool.
Go for it, man.
Yeah, so before I even had any dead recordings or anything like that, I went and got the Almost Acoustic album, the Jerry Garcia acoustic band album. And this is the first track on that CD. I looked over Jordan, what did I see? Coming forward to carry me home. Land of them angels coming after me, coming forward to carry me home. Swing low, sweet, sweet chariot, coming forward to carry me home. Swing low, sweet, sweet chariot, coming forward to carry me home. You get to heaven before I do, coming forward to carry me home. Tell all my friends you'll see me soon, coming forward to carry me home. Swing low, sweet, sweet chariot, coming forward to carry me home. Swing low, sweet, sweet chariot, coming forward to carry me home. I sometimes am up and sometimes am down, coming forward to carry me home. But I know my soul's been heavenly bound, coming for carry me home. Swing low, sweet, sweet chariot, coming for carry me home. Swing low, sweet, sweet chariot, coming for carry me home. Coming for to carry me home. I said coming for to carry me home. All right.
All right. Good stuff.
Right on.
Yeah, that was a very, very frequently covered song by Jerry. He loved doing that one, and I loved hearing him do it.
Yeah, that CD is recorded in 1987, like right after I was born. And I think it's a compilation of shows from like the Wiltern and the Warfield from about that time, like November, December. So yeah, it kind of like just fits in with my vibe, I guess.
There you go. I know you guys play that. You cover that every now and then.
Yep, every once in a while.
Yeah,
yep.
it's always it's always welcome, but it's always when jam bands bust out a cover like that. Like you'd expect Jerry to play that because Jerry, that was his kind of thing, and you'd even expect the Dead to play it because of the. But like for you guys, that's a little that's more than 1 degree of separation,
Sure.
So it's cool to see it, There's a couple songs like that you guys do that like that are like that, and I can't think of which the other ones are, but
yeah, I mean we have a few songs that are a bit like traditional bluegrass sounding, that kind of thing. Like Meet My Baby is kind of like in that ballpark, and Roll River is kind of like in that world. But I mean that Swing Low Sweet Chariot is like truly like an old school traditional.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an old spiritual.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. So tomorrow, Wayfair, we'll recap for anybody who wasn't here when we talked about it before, but tomorrow, if you are in Orange County or Los Angeles or San Diego or don't mind driving a long time for a show, you can go to the Wayfair in Costa Mesa at, was it 3 o'clock?
I think it might be 4, but check the event on Facebook for the right time. And we're going to practice safe distancing. It's going to be outdoors, fully outdoors. So come with your mask, everything's going to be sanitized, and we're just going to try to have a safe, good old rock and roll time.
Well, if everybody behaves themselves. Now, I have a question. Is the bar going to set up an outdoor bar?
I believe so.
Because you can't go. You can go in and out of the inside to use the restroom and or order food or whatever. But if you leave the beer garden, you have to wait to get back in because there's only a certain amount of people allowed back there. How are they doing this?
I'm not 100% sure on those specifics, but it's going to be good to do this on Sunday and find out all that stuff, and then I can report back.
There you go.
and then like when we do it the following Sunday, everybody can have like a really good idea of what it's all about. But for the most part, I think they're going to try to accommodate to people who are going to be just trying to stay outside the whole time. Right. So I would imagine that there would be some sort of food bar service outdoors.
Yeah, good.
And if not, I'll have a talk with them. No, I'm just kidding. I love the people at the Wayfair. They're like one of the most supportive venues of the Higgs since day one. So huge shout out to the Wayfair.
Well, that's like that's your home turf. Like,
absolutely.
that is your that's your spot where you whenever you're at home, you play there.
That's our nectars, so to speak.
Right, got it. For fish,
yeah.
For the fish reference, the nectars in Vermont.
It's the breeding ground.
And they and those guys put on a lot of good shows over there, and I hope they can weather the storm and get through this and not come out the other side. So many aren't. I heard that you guys just played there. Not the Wayfair, the Troubadour, not too long ago. Mm-hmm. For the first time, right? Yeah.
Yes. For the first time.
With Twiddle.
With Twiddle, yeah.
And I've read stories that Troubadour is having trouble getting through the other end of this, and they're I mean, Doug Weston, I don't believe is alive anymore. I think it's been handed off to, like it's like a couple generations now past. It's either kids or grandkids, but they're having a hard time, being able to see the other end of this tunnel.
It doesn't shock me. I mean, from a business standpoint, it's hard to see a reason to stay in business if you don't see a foreseeable future for your business.
Yeah.
So it's tough, man. It's I feel for these people. Like, even just going downtown in my area here in Fullerton and noticing the businesses that can't open up and the restaurants and all these things. And like, I know some of these people personally that own these establishments, and just to know that what they're going through is so tough. I actually, like I said, our school is down the street here in downtown Fullerton. We are lucky enough to have just been able to open back up in a very private, one-on-one, face masked situation, but not all of these small businesses are able to do that. So these places, legendary venues like the Troubadour and the Wayfarer, that's so huge to the history of the Higgs and to the history of a lot of bands in Orange County. These guys are struggling right now. So, I mean, do what you can. If you don't feel comfortable going in and seeing a show, that's perfectly normal. But if you do want to help these venues out, some of them might be selling merch on their websites, or might be doing like takeout food, or a lot of them are like doing takeout beers and things like that. So support in any way you can, because this is the foundation of the music scene. So if you're a person who goes to these shows and has enjoyed fun in these types of venues on a regular basis, support the cause, because it's something that's actually benefited you.
Yeah, there's a GoFundMe right now for Winston's, for all the not so much for Teddy, but for all the people that work there who haven't been able to work. And Charlie Miller set up a GoFundMe for the folks at Winston's to try and help them get through the other end of this. So.
Charlie Miller's episode last week was great, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, that was fun. He's if you missed that one or any of the other ones, they're all archived on the website, shakedownnews.com. Just click the Shakedown News Live tab at the top of the page, and you can go and watch the old ones. And last week with Charlie Miller was great. If you don't know Charlie, I know you do. I mean, those guys, the folks that are watching, you people, if you don't know Charlie, Charlie is a legend in and around the Grateful Dead music scene. He has been tasked with the daunting task of remastering old live recordings that have kind of either degraded or they're not quality. What was he telling me about the Reno, Nevada show, which it was covered in wind noise because it was so windy. And when they were playing, you couldn't hear it. But as soon as they stopped playing, the mics would pick up all the wind noise. And he said he spent hours and hours filtering out wind noise. So the guy who does what he does to make your listening more enjoyable, that's Charlie Miller. So go back and watch that show. There's some other good ones. I had The Great Divide on a couple weeks ago. I had, Robert John and the Wreck and Teddy T and next
Isn't
week,
Charlie just the greatest though? Charlie's just such a great guy.
He is, yeah, and he's
so
got
cool.
he's got a great story, and he's so easy to talk to, and you can he's a great interview because you ask him a question, and then you just sit back.
I love that.
And 5 minutes to go by, it just eats it all up. Next week, speaking of Alex Jordan, next week I am gonna have Alex on the show right here. First time announcing that. So tune in next week for the Alex Jordan show, which may be Saturday. The Saturday is the 4th of July. And I kind of like your opinion, folks, out there. You can let me know. The 4th of July, right before the show, Alex and I were debating on whether we should move it to Sunday or Friday or another day, because the holiday, everybody wants to celebrate the holiday, and nobody wants to take an hour and 15 minutes out of their barbecue time to watch us. So, you can message me offline, or you can post in the comments here, but let me know if you think it's a good idea. So the Alex Jordan interview may not be on Saturday, but it will be sometime next week. And then the week after that, I am going to go and do On Location from Project Barley. Product plug again for our fantastic friends up at Project Barley. I'm going to go up there and do the show live from there with Jay Constable doing a full acoustic show during this show. So we'll do a lot more songs, and it'll be cool. So that is the recap of what's coming on the next couple weeks. John, this has been fun. I'm glad we did this.
Yeah, it was a great time. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh man, for sure. And we'll have to do it again when we get through this. I come out the other end of the tunnel. We'll have to have the whole band and do something where you guys can play. We'll do it before a show or something where we all sit down and talk, and then we stream the show or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm gonna try and make it out tomorrow. But if I don't make it this week, I'll make it next week. And awesome. I can't wait to hear your report on how everything goes.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Are you streaming the show tomorrow? Are you gonna live stream it?
Not as far as I know. I heard through the grapevine that legendary taper Joe LaGrippo may be doing some sort of video live stream, though.
Oh, cool.
So
all right.
Maybe keep your eyes peeled for that.
Keep your eyes peeled for the Higgs stream, either audio or video or whatever. And go buy Rosewolf Fall mixtape.
Yeah. Get you a mask also.
Oh, yeah, those are cool. Little Hig guy on there. Little spaceman.
Yeah.
I love them. Those are available on the website, which is it Higgs Music?
thehiggsmusic.com. Go check us out. We got all of our, media on there. You can find us on Spotify and YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. And check out the podcast, John Lovero Actualized. You can find that on YouTube. You can find that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. And Billy, thanks so much for having me, man. This has been great.
My pleasure. And we will see you all next week. As I said, I will put out the announcement and let you know what the exact. So it probably won't be the same bat time and same bat channel as it always has been, but it will be sometime next week with Alex Jordan. Go buy some Higgs stuff. Go check out the new album and watch John's podcast. And we will see you next time right here on Shakedown News Live. Thanks, John. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Billy.
Uh-huh.